What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. Got a review for you. Let's get into it. All right, guys, we're going to be taking a look at a couple of knives that I've had in the inventory before, but I have new versions of it. So I didn't want to do just a standard review again. I kind of wanted to just go through these two updated versions with you. Of the two knives I want to do together as a pair or a duo, we're going to talk about the We Nefaris again. And then we have an old friend returning to the collection that I'm super excited to have back. That is the We Roxy 3. So I'm not going to go through and do the size comparisons and all of that business. If you are truly interested in a full in-depth review of these two, I do encourage you to check for the links as we go through the video. I'll do my best to make sure that they're up on the top of one of these two corners for you so that you can go back and watch a dedicated review to each of these knives. I don't want to do any injustice here by not doing some sort of devoted, dedicated review with them. Having said that, I will be touching on some of the things that I like, some of the things that I have observed since having these two return to the collection. And we will, sorry, as I adjust, my microphone keeps wanting to drop. We will go ahead and just kick it off with the Roxy 3, since this is one that is returning to me, having been gone for a really long time. So this is definitely more of a smaller knife. And again, I know I said I'm not going to do full-blown review, but I will throw a comparison out here. So if you have a pair of 3 lightweight or a pair of 3, this is going to be very comparable to that knife. You can see here they are very similar in size. As you can see, their philosophy is great ergos with great performance at a compact size point, which is something that I really appreciate for a companion carry knife. You know, both of them are very well done. Extremely good examples of where you don't have to have a large knife in order to have maximum performance and ergos. So for the Roxy 3, it is a little snug. Just like on the Para 3 lightweight, the Roxy 3 a little snug on that forged choil, but they did carry and follow through out past and below the cutting edge to make sure that you have good protection for your index finger. And you can see here I'm able to get 4 fingers on here. I hang off the back a little bit, but I don't really feel that the way that they kind of ramp and chamfered here. It's very comfortable, and it's a very nice purchase on here for this Wharncliffe blade. Really good jimping here. I do extend slightly past it, but I don't want it to go out too far because I'm losing a little bit of the cutting edge by using this jimping. So for me, choking back right here, this is the money right here. Fantastic purchase. I'm able to control it, and then it has actually enough cutting edge here to be able to do push cuts with plenty of power behind it and get through those push cuts. And then because of how this is designed, it is really good for tabletop. I do hit my knuckles, but this position allows me to actually get plenty of blade down on the surface. Surprisingly, I can almost get it flat. Right here is the grip that I use, and I can almost get this completely flat on the table. I do like that this is still being made in S35N. It's nice to see a little bit of variety in the lineup. They could have easily just switched over to 20CV like they're doing everything else, but we did a really good job with S35N. It is a fantastic edge retention knife that is still fairly easy to manage with stropping and sharpening, and then you don't have to worry about corrosion. So I still really have a lot of respect for S35N. I think that family, just S30, S35, S45N, is just overlooked because it's been around for a really long time, which is ironic because that doesn't happen with 20CV and M390, which is still considered, you know, the pièce de la resistance, so the top of the food chain, so to speak, you know, with S90V here recently kind of gaining in popularity and Magna Cut coming out hot onto the scene last year. I still respect S35N a lot. It's a steel that is just never going to disappoint, and it is going to be serviceable, reliable, great performance. Just the design on the Roxy 3, it's so unique. I really like this a lot. So just a quick backstory. What happened to me was I really fell hard for the We hyphen, and I still really like the hyphen. So what I've tried to do is just for companion carries, I have that para 3 lightweight. I carry the Roxy 3. I carry the hyphen. I did that backwards for companion carry knives a lot. And I also have in that mix the Vosti Datsun, and I have the CJRB Echo. And what I mean by companion carry is it's just in a pouch organizer with a flashlight and a pin that drops into the pocket with the three of those in that organizer. And then my main carry is one that is clipped to the inside of the opposite pocket. So I've really dialed in right now, barring anything else coming out that competes, what I really like for that companion carry. This is something where I can just pull out the pouch, grab something kind of small, unassuming, not quite so intimidating. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably looking at the Roxy 3 and thinking that's unassuming. Well, if you look at it, there's no acute tip over here like what you see on that Para 3, what you see on the Echo, even with the sheep's foot. It still has a little bit of so this is clearly a utility blade shape with some style, with a little bit of attitude. And the flamed anno finish really just spoke to me when I saw that they brought this out with the flamed anno. I just wanted to get one, and I was like, well, you got rid of it because of the Roxy 3, so there was like a little internal struggle with me on justifying going and get it. So I ended up finding it in stock at Deadwood Knives. I've never heard of them before. I just encountered them. I'm not an affiliate or anything, but they have had some inventory from We trickle in that others didn't have. Usually my other go-to is GP knives, because a lot of people this is a GP knife shirt. A lot of people don't seem to check them out, and they tend to hold on to stuff a little bit longer because they don't seem as well known or in high traffic and high volume as some of the other big retailers. But I'm getting off track. I found it in stock, and I was like, meant to be, right? Everywhere I kept checking, when I finally had the urge to go and get this, which I'll jump into a little bit more here in a second, was out. I found it there, and man, I'm just so glad to have this one back. It's just these two pieces for companion carry knives, they're so unique, and you can see some of the differences from We. Like, you can see the larger pivot here. You can see hollow ground. Their acid etched stone wash is really nice. Their anno stone wash is really nice as well. These were blue. I did anodize those bronze to kind of match the logo, which I really think that little bit of pop is nice. Like the little bit of bright pop on the dark contrast is nice. But you can really just tell a big difference in the knives as far as what's coming from We when you look at the hyphen, and even here in a moment when we look at the Nefaris. It's still a really good detent, and it's very smooth action, but this is, I would say, even though it's a solid detent, it's very satisfying to deploy in all the deployment methods. And it could be because there is a front flipper on there, so there could be reasoning behind why on the Roxy 3 the action feels a little bit different. But this one here feels good. But when you get to this, you can see where We has grown a little bit, how they're able to dial in the access. It could be the design again, it could be thumb studs instead of thumb hole. But on the close, this feels a little bit smoother. Like, you don't have to shake it home as hard, which is impressive because it's a lighter blade. This is a heavier blade that should want to fall faster, but it actually feels like it requires less effort there. I do like this pocket clip. It works okay, but the pocket clip here on this design that was designed for this knife actually functions better in and out of the pocket. Now, what got me back to looking at this, I remember this dropped, and I had no flamed anno at all. And I was like, well, I would like to pick up the Nefaris flamed anno because it was coming out, and it's going to be a limited release. But I don't have anything that's going to really match it. I could, probably force some blues in there to try to mix and match and get it there. But I remembered the Roxy 3 came out, and I, missed having it in the collection. And that's the disadvantage sometimes with being a small channel. You got to rotate some knives when they're not getting carried in order to be able to fund new stuff. But when this came out, it was like the perfect justification and reasoning for me in my mind to go out and get the Roxy 3. And I've really enjoyed the Nefaris. I had the black washed with the copper carbon fiber inlay, and that was really nice. I really liked that a lot. But you can tell a little bit of a difference between the black wash and the hand rub satin finish. So the black wash comes in completely black wash and assembled, and it operates very smoothly, very nice, great action, great detent. But the black wash, you can feel it has not broken in yet when you first get it on that bearing for the detent. Whereas on this one here, because it's hand rubbed and smooth, it comes out so glassy smooth right out of the box. So you have to know and understand that black wash is going to break in, and it will get to that point, but you can feel the feedback difference on the two knives. Also here with this one, I love that they, this is all Nefaris, is not this, version over the other. The logo being on the pocket clip, I like that. I like that with the, the sterile pivot. Nothing's on there. It's super clean, very small, tasteful speed holes, and I think it all ties together really nice with that flamed ano. The action on this, it's a bigger blade, but it is so smooth. The flipper tab action with it being so high up, you got nice leverage, really good detent here, tight to the body, really nice to light switch, very satisfying. And then same with that reverse flick. Now with the thumb flick, as I found with on the Roxy 3, I kind of keep bouncing off of the handles here, the scale material off the scales. So not awful to thumb flick, but you really got to kind of pop out this way with that one, and it works. It certainly does work. And with the Roxy 3, I found that too. It's a little sharp right here where they rounded the corner. It's not completely round, and I don't know why they did it that way, to be honest with you. They could have, I think, in my opinion, they could have just made it really nice and smooth and round and not been such a hard edge. And I think that would have been nicer. I don't notice it when I'm holding it though. So, it's not uncomfortable from the ergos. It's just when you go to thumb deploy, I do find that I catch that. And that might be because I have large hands. You may not have ever noticed that or ever had that happen. If you have one of these, and you have medium to large hands, it may not have ever been an issue. But I will say this thing is super fidgety. I appreciate the opening hole front flipper and the flipper tab on this. It's nice to have multiple means of deployment, irregardless of whether or not you fidget or you just, enjoy being able to do a different type of open when you go to perform your cutting task. The only difference here is you do have the bronzed flame ano on the Roxy 3, and you have the satin ano. I really like to have those match. I like the satin matching the blade. The bronze with the blasted finish versus the hand rub finish is something that's a little bit different. But it's not too awful. The scale material matches. I think the color palettes work. And I think they did a fantastic job. Now with these, if you don't like that more matte finish, like even looking at this Roxy 3 here, this has been stonewashed. It is very smooth and matte. So it still has some texture, but this feels more like it's been blasted and it has not been stonewashed to smooth out. So this has more grit to it without trying to make it sound like it's sand. Like you still can feel that it's smooth, but it has more grit going through it, and you may be able to hear that when I go across the material. So I don't know. I hope that comes through. You can kind of sort of hear the difference there. Like this is catching more on the fibers of the skin than this one is. But just overall, really happy to have the Roxy 3, really continuing to love the Nefaris, and I really am enjoying the flamed ano. Like the flamed ano was something super interesting, and I think I'd like to get a few more flamed ano finishes in the knives. I know that recently Devo Knives introduced the tall boy, and I think the design aesthetic has like the radar echo effect, like where it's kind of, the circles are getting larger. I'd like to see them tighten that up a little bit. I think the lines being a little bit closer together earlier and still gradually separating apart, so you got more of that in there, would look cool. But he had mentioned that he didn't like it with the flame down. It was too busy. And I think that the Tallboy is going to have, regardless of the version, is going to have the lines in them. So if he's not going to do a planed finish on the flamed Anno without the lines, I wouldn't want that. It does look very busy, but that would have been a candidate if it would have just been flat scales with the flamed Anno. I totally would have grabbed that one. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Do you like the flamed Anno? Do you have either of these versions, or are you interested in them? You know, right now, I would say my top 3 We knives are going to be the ones that you see on the table right now. It is definitely going to be, for me, the Nefaris, the Roxy 3, and the Hyphen, which is crazy because I have I have fairly large hands. I wear double XL work glove hands. If I'm getting, I have motorcycle gloves that I get that are European made, and those are like triple XL. So I have the larger hands, and I think mostly because of the fingers, but these two really surprised me. That dedicated forge choil, similar to what you find on the Para 3 lightweight, really works here. And this finger choil, even though it looks really aggressive, the way that they did smooth it enough on that landing pad, it just really works. These definitely are my top 3 We knives, and I have other We knives that I really like, but these two together I really have enjoyed. I am debating stripping the Anno off of here and polishing up the hardware to kind of really match it up. Especially because it's a silver pivot here versus where they have that's not the one that has the gold. This is the one that has the gold on there. Like you can kind of see the difference. Like this one's silver, that one has the gold. So I was just kind of like, why didn't they make it just like a silver? Even if they didn't want to polish it, I think just having it like a natural titanium color would have matched the blade better, and then both of these would have complemented each other more. So I'm not going to do anything right yet. I know I can bronze it back, but I'm just going to leave it as is for now, because while I do carry them together and I do like to take the pictures together, I just really haven't decided if that is something that I want to do, because it is a lot of effort on my end, to go through that process. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a little bit different. Again, I will have used YouTube's links to the reviews for these two knives so that you can go and watch those. This is just more of getting a different variant that I really am enjoying of the Nefaris and getting that Roxy 3 back. So I have missed that one, and I am so glad to see that one's back. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Shout out to everyone that watched to this point of the video. It helps the algorithm. Thank you for leaving the like and the comment and being a subscriber. Make sure your notification bell is turned on so you don't miss alerts for new videos when those drop. Special thank you to my channel members. I appreciate all that extra support you guys give to me. I hope all of you have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.